Welcome back to another episode of Musings podcast. I'm your host Gongo Mildred, and I'm so happy that you've joined me for another episode. On today's episode, I wanted to tell you a story. I know it's about my musings and everything, but today I just want to tell you a little story that happened to me last month. So, in April, my cousin came to visit in Kenya. She lives abroad. So she came to visit and she was like, "Sit tukatembele shosho pamoja, we surprise her." And so we did. So we left on the 1st, we went to the village to visit my grandma, and then she came back after 2 days because she had something she wanted to do in Nairobi as well with her friends, and she had other places she wanted to visit. But I stayed with my grandmother for a couple of days. So usually when I go to the village, I love taking shuttles. Mi si mtu wa nini basi. But because she wanted us to book prior, so I had booked easy coach while we were going. But coming back, she booked easy coach again coming back. But as I said, I love shuttles. So I didn't come back with easy coach. So what I usually do when I go, coming from Nairobi, I just go to where the shuttles are. I'm like, yeah, book sayo, unapanda gari, you go to the village. But coming back from Shags, I usually call them a day before. So I'm not used to like booking with money. Juko, especially when it's not like high season, inakuanga hard kubook na nini before. Because you might book alafu sikia hakuna gari ama nini or something like that because people are not traveling so much. And this time, it was just before schools were closed. Ama they had just been closed or something like that. I think they had been closed the previous week. So by this time, yo rush ya kufunga shule ilikuwa isha. So it was a low season. I couldn't book Nado. So what I did is that what I usually do, I call the shuttle that I want because they have a booking office at our main market center or something like that. So I usually call them. I have their number and I'm like, "Hi, I'm so and so. I want to travel tomorrow morning. Neza pata gari ya sangapi?" And they tell me either at 7 or at 8 or at 9. So this time when I called, the lady who works there, she was like, "Oh, we cannot book for you right now because, as I said, saizi hakuna magari zinakuja mingi, so we cannot know. So maybe jioni upige, then I'll know if we'll already have a car yenye imefika huku inatoka kesho asubuhi." So you see, I was like, okay, sawa, I'll call later then. But please just remember, I want to book seat number 1 because I love sitting at the front na dereva. For this particular shuttle service, hapo mbele ni wewe na dereva peke yake mnakaa. So the middle seat hainanga mtu. And that's why I love sitting there. Because now it's just you and the driver. Hakuna kufinyana, kila mtu ako na space yake. You can put the window down if you want. Si kama uko nyuma ukifungua dirisha unaanza kusikia, "Madam, funga dirisha please. Madam, aki upepo. Madam." So I don't like sitting at the back. So nikaambia, "Kumbuka, please nataka seat number 1. She was like, "Okay, sawa." Then I chilled. After some time, my phone rings and it's that shuttle service number. And I'm like, "Yeah, hello." And she's like, "Oh, unfortunately, the seat that you want number 1 is taken." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I told you, by the time I was calling, you told me you cannot book for tomorrow morning. So why are you calling me, telling me that seat has been booked?" And she talks and she's like, "Pole, nini sikuwa nimesikia vizuri." And I'm like, "You told me that you're not booking for tomorrow until this evening. So how come somebody has already taken that seat?" And she goes, "Oh, pole, ulikuwa unasema ya kesho asubuhi." I was talking about tonight. I'm like, "No. When I called you, I was talking to you about tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. at least. Not at night, because I don't like traveling at night." So I was like, "Not tonight, I was speaking about tomorrow morning." And she's like, okay, sawa, pole. Sawa, kesho asubuhi saa ngapi? 8. She's like, "Okay, sawa, jina nani?" I tell her. And she's like, "Okay, nimekubukia kesho, seat number 1, 8 a.m. I'm like, "Okay." I send her a message. Name, Mildred, seat number 1. Time, 8 a.m. That's what I sent her. And she's like, "Okay." I go, I start my day. Tell my grandma I've already booked the Nissan tomorrow, so I'm good to go. And I move about my day. So I do the things I do that, unajua kusiaga unga nini to come as whatever I pack, whatever I need to come back to Nairobi with. And that's all I do for that whole day. So the next day I wake up, nishambia mtu wa motorbike come and pick me at this time at 7, I think I told him. And so that I can be there by that 8. And he goes like, okay, so it's not far, but it's better to just like come and pick me up. Did I tell him at 7 or 7:30? I think something like 7:30. Because like getting from our home to the market center, it's like na motorbike, it's around 10-15 minutes. Simbali. And so morning comes and we leave. He comes and picks me up and we go to the stage. To the booking office. We get to the booking office and I go in there. So the motorbike guy has dropped me. I've paid him. He's left. I go into the booking office and I'm like, hi, my name is so-and-so. I booked yesterday, seat number 1. The lady who booked for me is not the one at the office. She comes to work at 8. Actually, yeah, the motorbike guy came at 7 because we arrived a little bit early. So he's like, so for which seat? I tell him number 1. He's like, no, number 1 ishachukuliwa. What do you mean number 1 ishachukuliwa? I called yesterday. I spoke to somebody. The lady told me. I even sent a message. Hey, your message ni kama ikufika. Naambia ndo hii. I show him. It is on his phone, but he pretends that he doesn't see it. He's like, ni kama your message ilifutwa. I know for a fact it wasn't. Because the lady, when she came later, she remembered me. And she was very pissed about whatever happened next. So I'm like, I called. Ati sungebook na pesa. I've never booked this nini shuttle na pesa mimi. I've been a loyal customer. I always use this shuttle whenever I'm here. I never book with money, ever. I always call ahead. I tell them to keep for me seat number 1, and you guys do. And then I come, I pay. Nanivo. I've never had to send money or to book nini prior with money. And he goes like, okay, maybe she didn't understand or something because your seat is already been taken by somebody else. I can't give you seat number 1. Now, they have this parcel delivery services. So that lorry that comes to take the parcels arrives during, I don't know if it's during the night or early in the morning. So they pack everything that is supposed to go for delivery to Nairobi and it leaves for Nairobi early in the morning. So this guy leaves me there pondering because now I'm upset. I'm like, this is some very incompetent thing that you guys are doing. What is this? I've been complaining and I'm mad, I'm fuming. So he leaves me there at their office and goes and helps those parcel people to put the parcels in the lorry. And I remain at the office. So I'm sat there and I'm contemplating, I'm wondering, should I wait? Because I'd asked him, so what's the next time that the next van is going to leave? And he tells me around 9. And I'm like, nimefika hapa 7 something. I'm going to have to stay. Hii gari iko itoke. I wait. Na hiyo 9 something ni ikija. Because hii ya kwanza bado haijaja. Haijaja. It needs like 3-4 people ndo ijae. So kama itatoka ikiwa na less na 4 people, hiyo ya 9 itapata watu. Because as I said, it's low season. So I sit there and I call my grandma and I'm like, you know what these guys did? This lady, I called her to book, blah, blah, blah. She told me everything is going to be okay. I called, I texted her, and now I'm here and they're telling me they've already given my seat away, that I didn't book. And she's like, okay, let me call Easy Coach, but now you'll need to get a motorbike and you go. Because where we live is near Moise Bridge in Kitale. Like it's between Eldoret and Kitale town. So there's a place called Moise Bridge. So she tells me you'll have to go to Moise Bridge immediately. So take a motorbike and you go. Because your gari natoka next I'm sure ni saa 2. And so she calls Easy Coach. They tell her, mwambie akuje sahi. Viti ni gani? Ni uko nyuma kabisa. I don't like city. 1, I do not like buses. 2, uko nyuma kabisa. Maligari ikiruka mnarushwa juu. Although Easy Coach, you don't even feel like ikipita bump, by the way. So it's very comfortable. You don't even feel, but still, I don't like it. I just didn't want it. So my grandma calls me and I'm like, by the time she calls me back, ile hasira nilikuwa nayo prior imepunguka. Like I've learned patience, yo. Since I went to Sharjah, hey. God made sure I learned patience. So I calmed down from what that lady had done to me. I was not thinking of other ways because I really didn't want to get into another motorbike. That's more money. And whatever I have, I'm trying to save because I'm coming back to Nairobi and have to do 1 to 3 things with the money. So I can't spend it all on just fare. So my grandmother calls me and she tells me, oh, wamesema uende saizi, there's a seat number flani uko nyuma. And I'm like, hey, kama ni nyuma ni wapi? Nitajipata napita mbele yao, because I don't like squeezing in front of people going to find my seat. That's why even on a Nissan, I'd rather sit at the front other than the window thing. So I tell my grandma, no, it's okay. I don't want to go to Moy's Bridge. It's far. I mean, it's not so far, but I don't want to get into another motorbike again. And I don't want to call the motorbike guy to come and take me, because I'm used to him. So getting another one to take me to Moy's Bridge, it's just going to cost me more. And I don't want to do that and start haggling with the person who's going to be taking me to Moy's Bridge and being like, oh, so unataka pesa ngapi nini nini, anikona ama kitu kama hiyo. So I'd rather just wait. Let me think. So I tell her, let me just think. And she goes like, okay, sawa. So while I'm waiting there, the guy comes back and he's like, so me decide aje madam. I tell him, so this seat flani zenye zimebaki ziko na dirisha? And he goes like, hapana, iko na tu like the mirror, but the window does not open. I'm like, no, I have to sit where the window opens, because these shuttles get so hot, because you're traveling during the day, it's hot outside, it's bound to get hot inside. But people, I do not understand what's wrong with Kenyans. They lock all the windows. Like while we were going there, Easy Coach, all the windows were shut, all of them, in a whole entire bus that was full of people, but all the windows were shut. I had to yell like, hey, I got to a point where I was like telling my cousin, can you just open that window, please? And she's like, no, the draft, blah, 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 the person said. I was like, I do not care. We cannot be a full bus of I don't know how many people and all windows are closed. People even turned to look at me. I was like, I don't care. Look at me if you want. But all the windows are shut. This bus is full of people. How are we surviving? I can't breathe. I need fresh air. So she had to open it. So I have to have a window. I tell him I have to have a window. And so he goes like, okay, maybe we'll put you in the next one. I'm like, okay, I'll wait for it. It's okay. But then I calmed myself down. But while I was talking to my grandmother, actually, there's this lady who came, not the one that I spoke to, but there's a lady who came. But when I saw her, I knew she's not the one, but I just had to ask. Because like, are you the one who booked for me yesterday? And she was like, no. My job is not that. My job is this and this. That lady is coming by 8. She's the one who told me that other lady is coming by 8. And I was like, you guys are incompetent. Because why would you do this to me? And she's like, okay, maybe you should have booked with money. I was like, she should have told me that. If she wanted me to book with money, she should have told me when I called that if you want to book, you have to book with money. Don't just tell us to keep a seat for you. Book with the money. I would have sent that motorbike guy to come and pay you. Ama ningekuja mwenyewe, I bring the money. But I've never had to do that. And she was like, okay, pole, but sometimes just things happen. So she runs away. She didn't come back into that office, by the way, the entire time I was there. So I sit and I wait. 7, 8 arrives. So the driver, now the main person for this story, his name is Zaire. Zaire arrives. He's the driver. Now that shuttle that I was supposed to take, Zaire is the driver. I've traveled with this guy before. And that Nissan of his, the last time I traveled with it, ilikuwa na issues. By the time we go to Nakuru, did we travel with him coming to the village? I mean, going back to Nairobi. I think going back to Nairobi. And when you go to Nakuru where that shuttle stops, it had to be opened up, watengeneze sijui wamfanya nini. There's a time sijui buti kafunguka huko nyuma and people started like yelling outside. So he had to go and check if bags zimeanguka or something. I really hope nobody missed anything of theirs, because I think kuna bags zilianguka but he got them or something, because I was so worried. Like my bag imeanguka huko nyuma, because I usually have a suitcase where I put everything that I carry from the village. So like unga, nini kama nimebeba mahindi or whatever, I put them in a suitcase, then I carry them. So that nikishuka Nairobi, because it's far from where the shuttle stop to the stage to my place. So like I've traveled with him before. And the moment I saw him, I remembered him. I was like, yeah, this guy's shuttle, the last time I traveled with him, it had issues. So I was like, thank God I'm not traveling with him. But anyway, now it turns out the person who took my seat, the number one, is another driver who I've traveled with as well before. Now, this driver took that other seat because he was coming from, I think, the village. He had also gone to visit his family, because most of these drivers, they have their homes. Wamenunua shamba huko. Because Kitale, mashamba ziko. So when they start driving, wakikuja hizo maeneo, they see the shambas and they buy them. So I think he had come to travel there. Now he was coming back to Nairobi, ndo apate sa gari yake. He starts traveling. Maybe he was coming from leave or something. So he spoke to Zaire, and Zaire gave him my seat. And that's why I didn't have a seat. And because when he was giving him my seat, the person who was there was this other guy, not the lady that I booked with. And so they gave him my seat. So they are there, that guy comes back and they're talking. Zaire anapatiwa parcels ndogo ndogo za kubeba because that lorry has left. Yeah, parcels. So these other guys wako hapo. There's another one who's there inside the office. Like, it was just chaotic. Men. Because it was all men who were there. So chaotic, they're talking, they're laughing, blah, 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 wakiorganize nini. And I'm sat there just quiet. I like listening to music, but even that, I didn't feel like listening to music. I just sat and I was just listening to them, because a part of me was still pissed that they did that. But then the other part was like, it's okay, let me just be zen. And then I saw Zaire, I was like, yeah, let me just be zen. But my problem was, I don't know if I'm going to get a shuttle to leave the village side early enough. I didn't want to arrive like at night in Nairobi or anything like that, because getting matatus in the evening, nipate kama kuna nyesha, because it's April, it rains. So I didn't want to arrive in Nairobi while it's raining and it's dark. So that is what I was thinking about. But hii stress ya kubukiwa, I had left it behind. So I continue sitting there, and this guy asks me like, okay, so kuna gari. He calls a shuttle that is coming from Kitale that will be passing by. And he calls the driver and he's like, hey, I need seat number 1. Can you give me seat number 1, please? And the driver is like, okay, sawa, I'll give you seat number 1. So he tells me, madam, let me book for you. I give him the money. He writes me a receipt. And then he tells me, your car is coming. It's on the way, so don't worry. In less than an hour, it will be here. Actually, from Kitale to there, it's not so far, because it didn't even take an hour. But here Zaire, the shuttle, people have already started getting into it. Watu washaanza kuingia wamekaa. Zaire is still here making fun with his friends. So I sit there and I wait. That lady who booked, she eventually comes. I'm the only one who sat in the office waiting. Because the first shuttle, here Zaire, watu wake washaingia wamekaa. They're waiting for Zaire. Then this gentleman comes, before the lady actually, this gentleman who comes and it goes like, muningoje, nikatafute mboga. This guy, because, like vitu za soko zinaletwa hiyo masaa, he's like, he wants to go and buy vegetables to travel with to Nairobi. So Zaire anamwambia, okay, endo utafute mboga baba, haina shida. He continues telling stories with his friends. So this man walks, he goes, I think he buys the vegetables and then he forgets them there. He comes back and akina Zaire are like, mboga iko wapi mzee? Nimesahau. Then he goes again. These guys are still there waiting. And the people already in the shuttle, they're waiting for Zaire to finish whatever he's finishing so that they can leave. I'm still waiting. So eventually, the Baba gets his mbogas and they get into the car and they leave. They start their journey for Nairobi. I'm left there. So the lady now comes after Zaire has just left. It wasn't even like 5 minutes. Amata walipatana hapo nje. While she came in, she said hi and Zaire got into the car and left. Or something like that, because they hadn't gone so far. The lady comes and she says hi to me because I'm the only one now who's remaining in the office. She says hi and I contemplate about responding to her. Because she goes like, Sasa, response should be poor. But I don't say poor, I say mzuri. Because I'm still pissed at her. Because why? If you told me that hakuna gari ya mapema, I could have waited. Ningetoka kwa nyumba a little bit later. Because I woke up at 5 to shower, to get ready so that I can leave the house by 7. And then I come there and they find that hakuna gari yangu. So I just tell her mzuri and I sit. So she remembers, because she has seen me before. She knows I'm the one who likes booking now, seat number 1. She remembers my name. So she sees me, but anaona mood yangu, so she doesn't ask me. She calls that other guy and she's like, mbona huyu customer kwa hapa? Gari gani? Gari haijatoka? Gari imetoka. Gani? Ya Zaire. Na mbona huyu customer bado yuko hapa? ati anasema alikuwa book seat number 1 ati but seat number 1 nani ameenda nayo. So that other friend, Zaire's friend, the other driver, she's like, kwa nini? Mbona yeye ameenda na hiyo? Mbona angekaa mahali pengine? Blah, blah, blah. And they start arguing. So the lady is now arguing with this guy. Actually not arguing per se, just like quarreling him, sort of. Like, sina ubaya, but ile tu kumuuza mbona mmefanya hivyo? Customer amebaki aje na mkabeba driver kwa kiti customer angekaa. Unaelewa? So it was crazy. So the guy just goes like, mimi niliuliza Zaire, akasema kiti ya kwanza ishachukuliwa. And that was it. Ati hapana, customer alikuwa shabook, hiyo si vizuri. And gari imejaa, hapana. Imeenda na watu less, I think there were 3 or 4 people less or 2. And she was, na ametoka kwa nini? Ka gari ijajaa mbona ametoka? And so they start talking blah, blah, blah. While they're talking like that, this lady comes in. She's on the phone and she's like, hey, gari hakuna, but wacha niulize. So she talks to the lady. She's like, hey, I have 2 people who want to go to Nairobi. Kuna gari? The lady goes like, gari ishatoka tu saizi, but haiko imejaa. Ni watu wangapi? Watu 2. Wako wapi? Wako ready nini? Washavaa and everything, wako ready kutoka. The lady goes like, yeah. Anatoka anaongea na simu nje kidogo. Then she comes back, hands the phone to this lady. She talks to the people who want to go to Nairobi. And she's like, kama mko ready mtoke, gari, wacha niwaambie warudi. And so she calls Zaire. Zaire, who has just left. He calls Zaire and Zaire comes back. She tells him, mmefika wapi? He tells her. They hadn't gone so far, as I said. So they turn around and come back. He arrives. This lady is still talking to the people who are supposed to be carried to Nairobi on the phone. And it's like they're cancelling. And Zaire has already come back. The kids are already getting out of the van and going to the toilet and stuff. Like, it was just chaotic, this Zaire's nini. Zaire is back at the booking office now, again, telling stories. So the lady confirms with them again and they're like, okay, so watatoka mpatane nao kwa barabara mahali. But it's like they hadn't even showered or anything, so they had to wait for them to get ready so that they can come. And so I'm still sat there. This lady calls the guy that is supposed to come and get me. And the guy is like, tumefika mahali fulani tuko karibu. And so she's like, okay. So she says it out loud. She doesn't talk to me, by the way. She never spoke, after saying hi to me, she never spoke to me again. But she was talking about me while I'm sat there, talking to these other guys, but never spoke to me directly. So she listens to what the driver is saying and then she tells that other guy, like, amesema ako mahali fulani ako karibu kufika. At this rate, that guy is going to get here and leave kama Zaire bado yuko hapa. And I start laughing in my head because I'm like, kabisa ukweli. Zaire anaambio. Zaire mbaba alimwambia anaenda kutafuta mboga na Zaire akarelax. And the people who were in that matatu were so nice because they were like, yeah, hatuna mbio sisi. Because that mzee ange complain because he was the oldest in that van ya Zaire. He was like, yeah, no, juu alishafanya watu akangoja, akaenda kutafuta mboga. The other people were kids mostly who were being transported to Nairobi by themselves. Like, Zaire anapatiwa information ya wazazi ya kila mtu, anapatiwa watoto wafikishe Nairobi. So nobody could really complain. We continue waiting. Zaire making rounds outside there, talking to his friends, laughing and everything. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, this guy, these people watafika Nairobi na giza. And he doesn't care. So it gets to a point I'm like, okay, I think by now that van is almost here. So let me ask where the toilet is. I go and then I come back not to answer safari. Because something told me, usually when we start the safari from there, the booking office, it goes and enters Eldoret and you stop at they have another booking office there. They have an office there and they hand over some parcels, blah, blah, blah. It's at a gas station. So you can leave the van, you go to the washroom, then you come back, then you continue the journey. Because the next stop is going to be in Nakuru and then Nairobi. So I was like, okay, let me go to the washroom because this one that is coming from Kitale, I doubt that is going to go to Eldoret. And I was right. So I go to the washroom. I come back. The van is already there. My suitcase is already in the van. So there's another guy who was handling the parcels. He had seen what they had done. So I was like, Washa madam, nikusaidie bag, nini, nini. He takes me to the van, opens the door for me, helps me sit down, blah, blah, blah. And everything. He was so nice. Zaire is still talking and telling stories behind that. I had to memorize that plate number because I was like, nataka kuona kama tutapatana kwa barabara. Zaire is still there, telling stories. Those people who are being collected on the road, I don't know if they were ready or not. Because I get into the van, the new driver, and after some time he talks to those people, the lady, blah, 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 kidogo, kidogo, and he comes and we are off to Nairobi. As I had thought, we didn't go through Eldoret. So there's a bypass. Hapo kuna mali, there's a place called Mailitisa. So after hiyo place, there's a bypass, unaenda unatokea mbele, Eldoret huko mbele. So you avoid going through the town and you avoid traffic. So we do that. And I'm like, oh, thank God I went to the washroom before. And so we do that. Now, there's this place now where you join Gardens Mepita through Eldoret. And I remember just kept in to check all the number plates to see if I'll see Zaire's. None. Meaning, this guy had not left Nini yet. That booking office at home yet. So alikuwa bado huko, akipiga story. Sisi tumeenda, we arrive in Nakuru again, that place where those buses, the vans stop. I check the shuttles, I check number plate. Ya Zaire haiko. Not while we were entering atalifika mbele yetu anatoka, ama zimepakiwa. While we are leaving, I check none of his is coming in. Kwa barabara, any shuttle with the same name ikipita naangalia, nothing. So Zaire remained there. This is the shuttle that I was supposed to get into. And I understood why God made me be patient. Why I didn't get upset. After the initial shock of these guys did me dirty, and this is the first time they're doing this to me because they've never done me like this. Even when it's high season. Like ile jana watu wanarudi Nairobi shule nini and wametuwekea bei ya gari ni 2,200. Even then, I never book with money. Na sijawahi kuja na kuwa na issue. I always come and they're like, yeah, number one. Ndo your receipt, I give them money and that's it. But this time, this happened. And I was like, this is why God did what he did. Because he knew I would be super pissed. If I was in Zaire's van, I would have been upset. Like, tumeshatoka tumeanza safari. I've already called my grandmother. Because whenever we leave the booking area, I call my grandmother and tell her, tumeanza safari. So that she can time. Tukifika Nakuru, akiona sijampigia na nipigia. Hamjafika Nakuru bado naambia tumefika. Ndo tumefika saizi ama ndo tunatoka. So she knows I have to call her when we're leaving. So tumetoka nishapigia nyanyangu simu namwambia tumetoka. Alafu tumefika tu hapo mbele, tumeambiwa turudi. Nirudi tena ati tumekaa. Unexpected kwa tumefika Nakuru nimwambia hata tu kutoka sasa tulikuambia tulirudishwa nyuma. And you know when that happened, my grandma doesn't like that because before there's a shuttle for another company that did that. They were told to go back, I don't know, to pick somebody else or something. And while they were coming back, they got into an accident. And a lot of people died in that van. So my grandmother, I couldn't have told her a story like that we went back. I couldn't have told her that. So I was like, God knew. He knew my patience level. Like, I'm a patient person, but he knew. And he knew that Zaire would have bored me. And I would have had to sit with him at the front, akiniongelesha from time to time. I would have been pissed. And so, God protected me from Zaire. And his van. Because nishapitia vituko za Zaire before, God knew. And he was like, my daughter, I'll protect you from this van and from this man and from the vituko that zinaenda kufanyika na gari. I hope they arrived to Nairobi on time, by the way. I don't know what time they did because they had kids, like little children. And I don't know why parents do that. Because watoto wanawekwa kwa gari wa travel peke yao, why? All the way from Western to Nairobi peke yao kwa shuttle. I get it could be cost effective and stuff like that, but still, because kulikuwa watoto wawili tu vijana, although they were friends, I think they used to go to the same school or something, but still, it was just like, no, they were so young to be traveling alone. Alafu hiyo kuchoka kwa barabara peke yao and everything. So I don't know. I just hope that they arrived like on time. Because watu wangewekwa wangoje ni wazazi wenye wanaongojea Nairobi. Wanaona watu wametoka saa 2 ushago. They're supposed to arrive by kitu tuseme saa 8, saa 9 or something like that. But no. Zaire is still having fun with his friends. You'll have to wait for your child until 5 or 6. Because we arrived in Nairobi again. I was checking the shuttles there. Because sometimes, mostly from our area, they arrive there and they leave. Because they also have homes in Nairobi. So they arrive at the stage and they leave. Especially wakifika jioni. They don't like take another trip back. Ama they'll go home, they eat dinner and then they come back kwa line sasa. Ndo wabebe watu if people are traveling at night. Ama wangoje waambiwe ya kuna watu customers kujeni mwabebe. Otherwise they'll just go and sleep and then they start their journey in the next day. Especially as I said, low season ndo kunafanyika hivyo. But you see, yeah, that was my little Zaire story. God protected me from him and his van and all the vitucos that were happening with that. God made me calm when I was upset that these people had, given that driver my seat instead of letting me travel in that van. God was like, my daughter, you're not going to travel in that van because itakufanyia vituko. As that lady said when she came, the other driver came all the way from Kitale, akakuja, akanibeba, na tukaacha Zaire hapo. Na tukafika Nairobi before them. Tukifika Nairobi, I almost asked the driver, hebu upigia Zaire umuulize wako wapi. I was like, ini mchezo. But yeah, I was so glad that God saved me from that, because I would have been super, super pissed if you'd have to go back and sit there again waiting for people ati waoge wavae ndo tuende tukawapik. I would have been super pissed. So I'm grateful to God that happened, that God did whatever he did, and that I didn't get to travel with Zaire. And if ever I travel with him, I don't know, maybe next time. Jusi ujuangi, unafikanga stage hapo kwa booking office, ndo unapata driver wako. Naambiwa ndo huyu ndo unaenda na yeye, unamwangalia unabaki, Because I think by now, I've traveled with almost all the ones that use that route. Like zinakujanga kwa hiyo booking office hapo kwetu. Because it's my village, I've gone there a couple of times and I always use the shuttle. So either kuenda ama kurudi, I've traveled with almost all the drivers wa hiyo mtaa. So apart from, because the ones from Kitale are different, and the ones from our booking office and the ones from Eldoret, so they're all different drivers. So I think hapo kwetu have traveled most of them, if not all. And whenever I see a face, I'm like, yeah, I remember a face. I may not remember the names, but I remember the faces. I remember Zaire's because one, his name is Zaire, and also I've traveled with him twice before, not once, twice. So yeah, he's pretty memorable. But yeah, that was my little story for today. I didn't want to have a long episode because, as I said, like Wednesday's shows are long, because recapping a whole movie, especially the Click Click Bang one, that one, because that movie is long. Even when you go to Netflix, it was separated like episodes. So they have episode 1, which has 50 something minutes, episode 2, which has 1 hour and something, and then episode 3, ama nimechanganya. I think kuna mali nimechanganya. I think the last one ndo kuna 1 hour and something, but ziko hivyo, it's long. And then all the others, movies inakuanga ndefu. So, because they are 1 hour and 40 something minutes. And I tried telling the synopsis as, as much as possible, giving as much information as possible, but also leaving a few bits here and there so that you can go and watch for yourself. So, zimekuanga ndefu. So this one, I wanted to keep it short and sweet. Just a little story about how God saved me from Zaire, and to say how grateful I am for it. So I'm going to leave it at that. Go to the comment section and tell me your story if you've ever gone through such a crazy thing. Mine is not so crazy. It was just a little story. But tell me if you've ever experienced such a thing, or if you've been in a matatu that was just crazy, or something was happening. Ama mmewekwa tu mkae mngoje and you didn't understand what was happening. So yeah, tell me about it. While you're doing that, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Go to my Instagram page, Mimi's Musings Podcast, and follow me over there. Bedhe uko kuna followers less sana, so please go and follow me. Tafadhali. Make sure you just go and follow me on Instagram as well, and I'll be super, super happy. For everybody who's been watching and you've gotten to this moment, thank you so much. Everybody who always comes back to listen or to watch, I'm super, super grateful. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll forever be grateful to you. Okay? Bye-bye now.